This is just fine.
Yeah, looking good, babe.
Hey, thanks. Poo-poo.
Poo-poo.
Yeah, isn't that your name? Poo-poo?
That's rude.
Why?
What do you mean, why?
Like a poo-poo platter. You offer a lot.
You're so full of it.
Full of poo-poo.
That's true.
I've been talking about this shit all week, so it's good that we're doing the video. It all started because of the last video. Thanks for watching the last video. Hey, film friend. We really appreciate you watching. I think we're going to do more movie guides as we go along because I hadn't seen maybe 95% of those trailers, and it made me think about the situation that we're all going through right now, part of the grander existential crisis of the entertainment industry that we're tracking in real time. It forced me to ask this question: how do we even advertise our feature films anymore? Some of the things we talk about may seem obvious, but maybe some of the things need to be said out loud just so we can move forward with the conversation. It started as I was culling and harvesting B-roll for the last video. We had to watch lots of trailers for the movies that are coming out this summer. It was while I was watching the trailer for John Krasinski's If when I realized there's a lot of love put into this. This movie seems kind of good. I had no idea. Bonesy hadn't even heard of it. The most I knew about it was this great meme going around saying this poster looks like an allergy commercial.
And it did.
And it does, but that forced me to be like, this trailer looks like it's made with care, love, there's choices being made, a lot of fun being had, and tons of talent. It wasn't just that one trailer, it was all of the trailers that I watched. Fall Guy, which is already failing, and Furiosa, they just put on blast at the end of June, will be available for home, which is like, people can't believe this movie is not doing very well. They're saying that the Bad Boys awareness is very high. It's really the combination of the two conversations that we've had so far. This idea of active movie advertising versus passive movie advertising. Let me explain. When we were kids, you'd sit down to watch your Simpsons episode, and it would be a half hour. 23 minutes of that half hour is great content that we're dying to see. The rest of it is commercials. In those commercials, you will see 4 30-second ads for, let's say, Batman Forever. In those ads, I'm sitting there passively just waiting for my show to start, eating a snack, and it's being literally beamed into my head. You want to see Jim Carrey as the Riddler. You want to go see this movie, which is funny because if you know the plot to Batman Forever, I'm sucking up your IQ, vacuuming cortex, feeding off your brain. Frank, babe! I lost my train of thought. So, what I realized watching these ads was I have to click on all of them. To watch a movie ad, I'm not watching TV. I haven't watched TV in years.
When I was a kid, you would go and rent a VHS. You would have to fast forward past the trailers, which you didn't really do. You would watch the trailers and get excited about the movies that were coming out soon.
The other way people get trailers is from the 20-minute presentation at the movie theater, which has a dual function. It gives padding so that there's a good amount of time to find a seat, to make sure that you get all the concessions that you want. But it's moot anyway if people aren't going to the theater.
They lost our faith before the pandemic in trailers. I stopped watching trailers because I felt like they spoiled the movie. Specifically for animation, they would show the first 5 minutes of the movie and then 5 other trailers on top of that. In a 90-minute movie, you were seeing a good percentage of it. People were talking about the Abigail trailer. The whole movie is like an Agatha Christie type mystery, and it's supposed to be a secret what they reveal in the trailer.
I do remember someone seeing a film, the Star Trek reboot, had 4 trailers ahead of it, and every movie being made had the same plot structure. And so at the end of Star Trek, they turned to them and they said, I just feel like I sat through 5 of the same movie. That's your balance of how do you not bait and switch your audience by giving them something that they're not expecting, but also not giving them too much, because you can do an entire plot rundown in 3.5 minutes, no problem.
If people are starting to care more about the trailers and try to communicate with their trailers instead of just visual stimuli or spoiling story,
right,
it's something that hasn't been happening lately. It's audiences not knowing that they've started doing that again.
Right. How are people watching trailers? I just had a conversation with my father. I told him I was going to quote him. I was explaining the whole passive advertising thing. He said, is that that why there are no movie ads on TV? And I said, I don't know, I don't watch TV. We're watching YouTube. He says, no, I'm watching TV. And they're not advertising movies on television anymore. Or less so, at least. He did go see If, and he said it was cute. He said he went to the theater, and there were about 2 films he had, like, cognizance of. And then the rest was 8 shows of movies that he had never heard of in his life. He's someone who is going to the theater. He is watching TV. My father is doing all the traditional means of advertising, and it's working to the effect that he likes going to the movies. That doesn't explain why he's going to the theater and he doesn't know what 8 of those flicks are. It was such a good system, this television through film kind of infinity symbol. They feed each other perfectly. We won't get too deep into the history of it all, but when television was introduced, cinema had to change up what they were offering, because they were offering things at the cinema that now you can get for free in your house if you just buy a box. Newsreels, cartoons, certain kinds of content. That makes film have to evolve. It needs to be bigger. Different kinds of aspect ratios. Well, if TV is going to be in black and white, then film sure as shit better be in color now. If you're going to do it in black and white, it better have a reason, because it ain't bringing them out. We can go further back. We're always talking about the advent of sound. Babylon's a movie, but those 2 scenes where they juxtapose what it was like to film the silent movies versus what it was like to film sound, and how wide and open and amazing and creative one was, and how confining and awful the other one was. But you gotta follow the audience, and you gotta follow the next thing. You have to evolve or die. And we are experiencing this in real time, because people don't know how they're getting eyes and what's entertaining people and how they're able to advertise. A poster has to be so good that you need to want to click on a link to watch the 3-minute ad to then spend money to go to the show.
But the problem is all the posters look the same, and eventually people will catch on to that and not be able to remember the difference between each poster. They will just all mash together.
Right now all the posters are just the actors. Dune. You want to see Zendaya.
At least one of the Dune posters was set up like a Star Wars poster.
There you go.
There's a leak in the ship.
Oh no.
We're taking on water.
Something that you can only hope for in the organic sense is true virality, right? We're all kind of hoping for organic virality. Barbenheimer happened naturally.
I heard that somebody saved Oppenheimer by including it with Barbie, because Barbie was hugely anticipated. Oppenheimer not so much. And then when Margot Robbie posted on social media, perfect double feature, Barbie, Oppenheimer, and that's how that kind of got started. That's what I heard.
They were definitely pushing. That summer was really nice. There was a lot of love between the Top Gun team and the Barbie team and the Oppenheimer team, kind of trying to reinvigorate things, and I understand that. The other thing I heard, it's true, Oppenheimer completely drafted Barbie. Barbie's PR was something that people will be studying and also be imitating. Ryan Gosling's already doing it again. The way Barbie advertised its film and did its press tour was wildly unique. I have to say, Margot Robbie still, to this day, doesn't get enough credit. She got paid, but she doesn't get enough credit for how fucking effortlessly she handled not only being the lead in that film, but also writing it, not only being the producer, but being the selling factor of it all, and still knowing how to blend in enough to let everyone that she's working with shine and get a lot of credit for what they're doing. I will say it anytime I can. Part of that story that I like was someone went up to Margot Robbie, so the legend goes, one of the producers of Oppenheimer, and said, "You should move your release date." And Margot Robbie said, "No, you should move your release date." And they said, "No, we're not going to do that, but you should move yours totally." And so it turned into this kind of head-to-head. There was Christopher Nolan divorcing Warner Brothers for the way they released Tenet during the pandemic, and then having to do Barbie was Warner Brothers and Oppenheimer was Universal. We have very, 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 very strong feelings about the way they handled Tenet and the way Christopher Nolan personally handled the Tenet release. We have a lot of issues with it. It's worthy of its own thing, and we will get lost in the weeds if we go down this road. If only I could show you Bones' face. We simply cannot go down this road. We must... Next! Okay, we won't get into Barbenheimer as much, but that does lead to Ryan Gosling. Ryan Gosling had this SNL sketch where he's Beavis and Butthead, and it caught because everyone broke. And it's a classic SNL. Oh, we're breaking on SNL. It's the funniest thing you can imagine. There are lots of articles about it, which leads to lots of pictures of Ryan Gosling and lots of free advertising for the Fall Guy, because that's the point of Ryan Gosling going on to SNL, is to advertise any way he can. What does he do at the Fall Guy premiere? Dresses up as Beavis and Butthead, brings Mikey Day over so they can take more pictures, so they can get more articles out, so they can embed the Fall Guy trailer into more articles, and people can say, oh my gosh, this viral thing we loved before, it's still fresh enough for us to do it. Luckily, he hasn't driven it into the ground. They haven't come back again. Ryan Gosling was there for Barbie the whole time, and I think he got a clinic on how to sell your film. And nowadays, if you're gonna be the A-list lead of a $100 million film, part of your job is selling the movie to the audience. It's not enough that you're in it anymore. That doesn't sell it in and of itself. You need to actively do what you can. What?
If any of that's true, then Margot Robbie's an even better person than I had originally anticipated, because she took the high road and allowed Oppenheimer to bank off of her advertising success.
Yeah. I don't know whose idea it was to have her dress up in different Barbie outfits for every single city around the world. I'm giving her credit for it. She did it so well. I still think it's just so understated. And it's not even about her not getting Oscar nomination, this, that, or the other. It's about the effortlessness of keeping a production like that on your shoulders and then selling it and making it look easy.
To be fair, Barbie is a huge thing.
It's not an independent film. It is a huge commercial whirlwind, but she wrote it like Muad'Dib, Shai Hulud. YouTube loves Dune. Speaking of Dune, popcorn buckets are a thing right now. Have you seen any of them yet?
Mm-mm.
They made a Dune popcorn bucket that looked like a giant dick, or whatever, a giant toothy thing to fuck.
A sandworm that just happens to look like a toothy penis?
Yeah, it's already $150 on eBay.
Oh, why would you do that's... Oh.
It took no time at all for this to go viral. And Dune was really popular. I'm not saying it's because of the bucket, but it's part of the experience of Dune, too. Yeah, and now they're doing this for Deadpool.
That's funny.
AMC purchased those things. That's money for AMC, which they're doing so much right now to try and save their money because they cannot rely on movies. They're literally making their own popcorn. They're literally, I'm not going to buy M&Ms. I'm making my own M&Ms and selling them as AMC M&Ms. A&M&Cs. Along with that is controversy. Remember?
Bad Boys.
Bad Boys, Bad Boys. No. My controversy example is when Harry Styles spit on Chris Pine. And that whole Don't Worry Darling. No one cares about this movie, but the way they rolled it out was pure controversy. This affair really shadowed the whole thing. The lead actress apparently didn't care for the director. The director was doing this, that, and the other. It's their big follow-up to a big success. And then apparently the lead spits on the other lead. And it's the lead that apparently the director is cheating on her husband with. It was so good for a hot second. Thought about coming back because it was perfect.
Is hype.
It was perfect film stuff. I guess not really worthy. That being said, I watched the movie once it came on to Max. It was self-propelling controversy. If you know how to manipulate this as a producer or an advertiser, you're worth your weight in gold to me.
Some of this stuff could have been planned. Certain people planned these things. It kind of came out of nowhere with the spitting. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just not watching those channels.
I don't know. There was a lot of gnarly stuff, but to that point, recently our man Glenn Powell just came out, this big success with him and Sydney Sweeney called Anyone But You, and it's like Much Ado About Nothing. There was controversy during that because they both are seeing other people, but as they were advertising their romantic comedy, they're really flirting with each other hard on the press tour. People were tittering and tattering. That movie did really, 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 really well here and internationally for a multitude of reasons, mostly because the two of them are really hot. Just sexy young young people in a romantic comedy. And Sydney Sweeney as well is really good at doing this press tour stuff. She really believes in selling her films. It just came out that Glenn Powell was like, yes, Sydney said we play this up. It doesn't matter. We're selling the movie. So play up this will they, won't they? Are they cheating on their people? Because it doesn't matter. They know what's up. And it's just headlines. So far we've been talking about going to the theater, watching trailers. Talking about watching TV. Trailers come to you. Going onto YouTube. Clicking on the trailers that you want to see. All of these kind of curations mix your studios. You can have a trailer for a Universal movie go next to an Indian paintbrush film. A24 next to a neon film, next to a Paramount film, next to a Disney film. Whatever the person at a movie theater is curating, or television, or yourself on YouTube because you're clicking and seeing thumbnails that are interesting to you. The problem with ad-supported streaming platforms is, why would Disney advertise anything other than Disney content? They might advertise the toothbrush, they might advertise the salsa, doesn't matter. But when it comes to actual content, are they advertising A24, Neon, Paramount? Certainly not Netflix. It's a real kill or be killed kind of thing. You either belong to us or we're not advertising your stuff. If you only subscribe to Netflix, you're not seeing ads for anything other than original Netflix films and movies that are coming to the platform. Meaning there's just no organic crossover. You have to subscribe to the thing that you want to see, and then you'll get more advertisements for the thing that you're getting, which is probably an answer to what my father was talking about. A lot of us get Disney and Hulu free from our phones, right? Why would Disney be spending the money to advertise when, one, they have ABC, so they'll just put their ads on ABC and not spend the same kind of loot. And two, they have their own streaming service. That's free real estate. So save your money, especially at a time where things are popping and collapsing and apparently no one's spending any money right now. You can't expect anyone to advertise on anyone else's streaming platform. That's like... So another way is influencers. Literal word of mouth. It used to be Siskel and Ebert. Back in the day, there were real movie critics who were actual influencers. Pauline Kael and Gene. I'm Gene. Remember him? Gene Shalit. That was his name. Really Siskel and Ebert for us. We never called them influencers, but they were the people that told us thumbs up or thumbs down. That's kind of lost now. I like doing the guide thing, but I'm not super comfortable being a critic anymore.
All the people that are critics now want to be filmmakers. They don't say too negative a thing about films, or they just won't review the films that they feel negatively about because they ultimately don't want to burn bridges.
If you want to be a film critic, you can say whatever you want. But it's true, a lot of us on YouTube, myself included, want to be a filmmaker, and there's no bridge I'm willing to burn right this second because I don't like a flick, unless the flick is really, really, really against what I believe in. I'll call that shit out because I do feel strongly about the themes that I feel strongly about, but I have nothing right this second to offer for that. But I believe in first right amendments. I can't express how important word of mouth is. This is from boots on the ground working at a movie theater. Word of mouth is everything. As we say at the Film Journey Cinema, if the movie's good, it'll play well. It's true. That being said, I'm trying to find as many small creators like myself as I can. Every time I search for movie crickets on YouTube, it's these huge creators. So if you're out there, come here. Also, send me your movies. If you've made an independent film, send it to this email address. Do it. I'll watch it. That's what I want this content to be. We want to watch your stuff. That's the whole point. I want to watch your stuff. That being said, we're not crickets. So we're not trying to tear your shit apart. We just want to talk independent film and bring light to the things that people are making because of this ultimate question that we're asking in this video. How do you even advertise your shit? If giant studios with millions of dollars are figuring it out, how on earth do we do it?
These large content studios aren't figuring it out. Their movies aren't being seen right now by as many people as they need them to be seen by.
Right. And they may be even great films.
Yeah. And they still can't sell them. It's really figuring out how to reach your audience. It's all that anybody's ever trying to figure out.
Yeah, and that's a big conversation for content creators today and filmmakers today. It used to be you make the movie and then you get the audience. But now you need to have the audience to be able to make the movie. And I think that's really important So we need to start being the audience now for each other, actually communicating with each other and creating a genuine community. And then hopefully through this community, our goal is to build a brick and mortar micro cinema where we can actually show this stuff here in Los Angeles and actually meet face to face.
Welcome to the clubhouse.
Welcome to the clubhouse, film friend. We will wrap this up, but before we do, this video is brought to you by our Film Journey apparel, Redbubble. Check this out. Oh, this beautiful. You want this hat? All this beautiful goodness. Please support the cause through our designs. They're made by Ms. Bones. We love our stuff and we want to share it with the world. It will keep us afloat if you do feel like getting a shirt or a journal or a sticker. We like that. So ultimately, this is about an audience who gives a fuck versus people who don't give a fuck but could be persuaded. I'm just saying I give a fuck. We give fucks.
We still have a few fucks left to give.
Yeah.
For film.
For film. We love film. That's why we keep coming back. We have no concrete answers.
No, it's about having a conversation. We'd really love to hear what you guys think.
Right. Independent people, fringe people, filmmakers, come. We want to see your stuff. We want to talk to you. We want to follow your channels. I want to meet you. We will keep talking about the bigger picture because that's what this is all about. We're not really in a world where we can't talk about the bigger picture this second, but we want to represent all areas. We kind of want to Virgil our way through this. We will do this all together. Please, if you haven't yet, likes are a great currency. We appreciate that, and comments are just appreciated in general because it helps the conversation.
We'd love to have you in the clubhouse with us.
Please, we're building the clubhouse here. Until next time, we'll see you in the future.
I think that's hilarious that we're a spaceship taking on water.
It's very funny.